It's Prime Big Deal Day, and there are actually some deals even on graphics cards. I wasn't sure there would be, but lots of other stuff as well. Let's start with graphics cards, though. So the RX 9070 from AMD, this is a 16 gigabyte card that's a little bit faster than an RTX 5070, is supposed to have a $550 MSRP, so this is only like $3 lower, but the real story is these have been available at $600 almost exclusively since launch. They really haven't been at their MSRP. So this is a significantly lower price than this card usually is, and it gives you 16 gigabytes of VRAM for around the same price as the 12 gigabyte 5070, and is about 9% or 10% faster, unless you're talking path tracing. Now, there's still an argument for going with NVIDIA options, but this is certainly the best deal on an RX 9070 that I have seen since launch day. Now, the XT version is also a bit faster, and this is as low as $630. Again, I'm not saying it's a price to just absolutely light a fire like you must buy this, but again, for a long time, these were closer to the $750 to $800 mark and only have recently been coming down lower than that, and $630 is the closest MSRP I've seen, again, pretty much since launch. MSRP should be $599 here, but has just been a completely unrealistic price. Now, any Nvidia GPU deals? I have seen the 5060 Ti, $10 below MSRP. That's not like crazy below MSRP, but it is below MSRP, and oftentimes NVIDIA cards don't do that, and this is the 16 gigabyte version of the 5060 Ti, and I really think that if you're just looking for a card for 1080p or 1440p in the latest games, most people will be very happy with this card, especially using like DLSS 4 upscaling on a 1440p display, which does look quite good. You'll have good performance, so if you don't want to go much over $400, this will absolutely get the job done. Now, if you're looking for a more budget option, I hate that $260 is like a budget GPU now. Remember when that was fairly high up the stack, but I'm old. Anyway, the point is that the 9060 XT, here's the caveat, this is the 8 gigabyte version, is as low as $260. Now, this card is almost as fast as this 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, which is $420 when you don't go over the VRAM limit. And at 8 gigabytes in the latest AAA games, at max settings or near max settings, you are going over 8 gigabytes even at 1080p resolution. That being said, if you mostly play older games or esports titles, or just turn down relevant settings like textures in the newest games, this card has a lot of performance for a $260 price point and is much faster than NVIDIA's price-competitive RTX 5050, which is significantly slower and still only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. This is also a lot faster than the Intel B580, which comes in at around the same price, although the B580 does have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, so that's something to consider. Now, if you upgrade your GPU, maybe you're also thinking about a monitor upgrade. OLED monitors are coming down in price. A 4K 165 hertz QD OLED is down to $600 here. Now, I understand $600 is still a lot of money, so for many of you, that's completely outside your budget range, and you might not be targeting 4K anyway. But if you are looking for single-player AAA experiences with the best visuals, this is going to deliver a really great experience. But again, still $600, but it wasn't too long ago, 4K QD OLED was $1,000 plus. So anyway, what if you're looking at 1440p and higher refresh rate? We can get QD OLEDs at $530 for 240 hertz 27-inch 1440p. That's a pretty attractive price. And what if you're just looking for a budget monitor today and wondering what's out there? I've got to admit, I've never used an Arzopa monitor. That being said, this is offering a 180 hertz IPS panel, 1440p, for $128, which is a pretty attractive price point. So price point's good here. I don't know much else about this one other than the specs look good for that price. What's it like in person? I haven't used it. Now, if you're upgrading the visual experience, a lot of people do kind of forget about upgrading your audio experience. Good sound can make such a huge difference in games. And the Sennheiser HD599 SE, these are not by any means the highest of end headphones in the world, but I think for most people's use cases, like you'd have to pay a lot more to get something that's noticeably better than this. There's certain audios where like you can spend thousands of dollars, but it's kind of diminishing returns. These are going to get you a good audio experience for gaming. for $90 on this sale. They do reach this price on sale at other times, but I've seen some of the other headphones, like I think the HD, what are they, 560Ss used to go just like down to just a little higher than this, like 135 on sale, but I'm not seeing that price, and those are a little better than these. So really, I think you have to spend a lot more than this to get significantly better sound. So if you've been thinking about a headphone upgrade, I think this is going to meet most people's needs. And if you're still using like your built-in monitor speakers or something when you game, like seriously, don't overlook the audio and visual aspects. I think too many people overlook monitors and overlook headphones or speakers for gaming. You spend all the money on the components inside the PC, but remember, they're producing an audio and visual experience, which in the end could get bottlenecked by your speakers, headphones, or monitor. So just don't forget all of that. Now, what if you're looking for a CPU upgrade? Well, the 7800X3D for high-end CPUs right now, I think is actually the best deal. This is only slightly slower than a 9800X3D, which is still up around, I think I saw like $476 today or something like that. And we're talking like 10% or less kind of performance difference, and that's even when you are CPU limited, which you're often not, especially on a 7800X3D. Now, $338 is still pretty expensive, even if it's a good price for this performance level and for this CPU if you look at historical pricing. So if you're somebody looking for more of a budget-oriented but still fairly current-gen build, the Ryzen 5 7600X, at least in the US, is currently less expensive than the 9600X, and the 9600X is not very much faster than a 7600X. And to be honest, yes, this is, a last-gen 6-core CPU, but this last-gen 6-core CPU isn't much slower than the current-gen 6-core CPU, and in actual gaming workloads, the 6 cores is generally fine. So in the vast majority of situations, you're gonna be more GPU limited than CPU limited in most situations, most games, and most graphics cards on this CPU. So I think that this will meet your needs for a current-gen build, and because it would be on the AM5 motherboard platform, you could always in the future upgrade to a faster CPU, whether that's a 7800X3D or maybe we'll get the next gen, 10,000 series or whatever they end up calling it, X3D part, should be probably compatible with this motherboard series. So there's that. Now, if you need a cooler for your new CPU, I spotted a 360 millimeter AIO with a screen on it. It's an IPS screen, so not one of the OLED screens or something like that, but it has a display. So seems like fairly, high-end kind of setup there for $65. Seems like pretty good deal. Now, I haven't used this particular, CPU cooler myself, but nothing about the specs or the reviews I saw shows anything particularly problematic about it. So yeah, you get in the screen, 360 millimeter AIO for $65. Seems like a pretty good deal. Now, if you are needing a power supply to power the system, maybe you're upgrading your GPU or something or doing a whole new build, the Montech Century 2, even at its normal price of $90, is my go-to value recommendation for power supplies. And today it's $5 less. That's not a crazy markdown from normal, but the thing is the normal price on this is actually insane for what you're getting. If you check out SPL's power supply tier list, this is an A- tier power supply. And this is not only is it 80 plus gold rated, it's also Cybernetics Platinum. It is fully modular. It's ATX 3.1 and PCI 5.1 ready with its own 12 volt 2x6 cable. It has a 10-year warranty. This really checks all of the boxes for a high-end power supply. And again, at 850 watts, this can power these big, 9070 XT 16 gigabyte cards. I've even run I've run an RTX 4090 with a 7800X3D on an 850 watt power supply, completely fine. This can power a lot. Now, that being said, if you're going with a 5090 and a super powerful Intel CPU that uses tons of power, there's a 1050 watt version of this that's only $105 right now. And there's a 1200 watt version, which is more expensive. That one's 160, so I probably wouldn't go up to that. But really, 1050 watts is probably more than you need, and it's barely over $100. And again, 850 watts is probably all that the vast majority of people need, and that's $85 for that. Now, I was looking to see if I could see any particularly low-priced cases. This one came up, but I'm going to caution you right now, the GPU size could be a limiting factor on this case. So I was looking down at the case specs here, and it says the GPU length can only go up to 319 millimeters. A lot of the bigger coolers these days do go past 319 millimeters, so not only do you need to make sure that's compatible with your current GPU or the GPU that you're buying or planning to buy for your build, you also need to make sure that you're okay with limiting your future upgrade potential. What if you want to buy a big GPU in the future and didn't want to get a new case? So that's annoying, especially swapping an entire build into a different case just to fit a bigger GPU can be kind of annoying. That being said, everything else about this case, including the fact that this comes with 6 pre-installed fans. Because a lot of people look at a case and then end up having to buy fans to come with the case, but some cases come with fans. This comes with 6 ARGB fans, PWM, 3 120s and 3 140s. Now, I haven't actually used this case in person, but it's $48. Has a Type-C header, that kind of thing. So, hey, and it's not super crazy big, which again puts a limiting factor on the GPU size. But for some people, you don't want a crazy big fan or anything crazy big case or anything. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, these are the deals I spotted this morning. If I see anything else, I might make a community post. I'll have links to all this stuff in the video description. They will be affiliate links, but that doesn't charge anything more for you. It just helps me out if you do buy through them. Some of these deals do require Prime. I think I can probably link a Prime membership, or you usually get a free trial if you haven't had one in a while for a month and stuff like that. Anyway, so check the links in the video description or pinned comment for all of this, and I hope you guys have an excellent day.